I'm Amir, a 30-year-old urban planner from Tehran, and I've got a dream that keeps me up at night, transforming Iran's 1,500-mile coastline into vibrant cities where people live, work, and thrive. From the misty Caspian Sea in the north to the sun-scorched Persian Gulf in the south, Iran's shores are bursting with potential. But when you look at them, they're eerily quiet. No beach resorts, no skyscrapers, no bustling boardwalks. Just small industrial towns and endless stretches of sand. Meanwhile, across the Gulf, Dubai and Doha shine like global superstars built on deserts just as harsh as ours. Why hasn't Iran followed suit? I've spent years pitching plans for coastal cities, only to hit wall after wall. Today, I'm taking you on my journey to uncover why Iran's coastline remains untouched and whether my dream can ever come true. This isn't just about geography or politics. It's about a country's choices and a vision that refuses to die. Let's dive in. Iran's coastline isn't an easy place to build. In the north along the Caspian Sea, a narrow strip of land hugs the water. Sounds promising, but just behind it, the Alborz Mountains rise like a fortress, some peaks hitting 18,000 feet. There's barely room for a village, let alone a city. Worse, the soil is waterlogged, prone to flooding. I tested the ground for a project, once dig a foundation, and it's like digging in quicksand. Building highways or hotels here would cost billions, and one heavy rain could wash it all away. Down south, the Persian Gulf is a different kind of challenge. Temperatures climb past 110 degrees, sometimes 120 degrees, and there's no fresh water, no rivers, no lakes, barely any rain. Desalination could solve that, but it's a massive drain on money and energy. I visited Bandar Abbas last summer, and by noon the heat made it hard to think. Then there's the ground itself, it shakes. Southern Iran sits on fault lines with constant tremors and the threat of major quakes. One investor laughed when I pitched a beachfront resort. Why risk millions on a hotel that could collapse? He had a point. Geography isn't destiny. Dubai faces similar heat. Japan builds on fault lines, but it's a steep hill to climb. The land itself seems to whisper, go build somewhere else. To understand Iran's empty shores, we need to travel back in time. 2,000 years ago, Persia was a superpower controlling trade routes like the Silk Road. Those routes didn't hug the coast, they cut through the heart of the country, connecting Asia to Europe. Cities like Isfahan and Persepolis grew inland at oases and mountain passes where water and safety were plentiful. The coast was just a place to ship goods, not to live. My grandfather used to tell me stories of caravans crossing deserts guarded by warriors. Persia's strength was its interior, far from invaders. By the 1500s, European navies with cannons and warships made the coast a liability. Persian leaders doubled down on inland cities like Tehran, nestled behind mountains and deserts. Even when railroads and highways came, they followed those old inland routes. The coast stayed functional ports like Bandar Abbas, moved goods, but never became places people wanted to settle. It's a cycle. People lived inland, so we built inland, so more people stayed inland. When I pitch coastal projects, I'm fighting centuries of history. People ask, why build by the sea when our heart is here? Breaking that cycle is like trying to redirect a river. The coast isn't just maps and numbers, it's people. Let me introduce Reza, a fisherman in Chabahar, a southeastern port with big potential. He spent his life on the water, but his kids are leaving for Tehran. The sea gives us fish, he told me, but not jobs or schools. My son wants a future, and it's not here. Reza's story hits hard. Coastal towns like Chabahar have deep ports and trade routes, but they're stuck. No hospitals, no universities, no reason for young people to stay. Then there's Leila, a woman I met who opened a small cafe near Chabahar's docks, hoping to attract tourists. I love the sea, she said, but who's coming? We need roads, hotels, something to draw people. She's pouring her heart into a dream, but without infrastructure, her customers are just locals. I sat with her one evening sketching a boardwalk that could bring life to her cafe. These stories fuel my work. Chabahar could be Iran's gateway to the world, milder climate, natural protection from storms, room to grow. But every time I propose a project, the same questions come up. Where's the money? Where's the expertise that leads us to the bigger forces at play? Building a city takes more than dreams, it takes cash. Roads, power plants, water systems, jobs to attract residents, it all adds up. Dubai and Doha did it with oil wealth and global partnerships, bringing in the world's best architects and investors. Iran's been cut off. Sanctions have choked foreign investment, limited our access to cutting-edge technology, and made every project a struggle. I studied Dubai's playbook. They turned a fishing village into a global icon by thinking big and collaborating. Iran's forced to go it alone, and it shows. Our ports like Bandar Abbas are efficient, but industrial cranes and containers, not beaches or promenades. Then there's security. Iran's long coastline is exposed, and military planners see it as a weak spot. Naval bases dot the shore, not hotels. I understand the need for defense, but imagine if we balanced it with development. Qatar built Doha while staying secure. Why can't we? When I pitch projects, I'm not just fighting geography or history, I'm fighting a system that prioritizes the inland and the immediate over the coastal and the future. It's a wall, and I'm still learning how to climb it. There's something deeper holding us back: culture. Persian poetry, art, and music celebrate mountains, gardens, and desert oases, not beaches. My mom used to read me Rumi, and it was all about valleys and nightingales, never the sea. When my friends plan getaways, they head to the mountains or lush valleys. The Caspian coast gets some tourists for its milder climate, but it's not our heart. In Dubai, the coast is everything: luxury tourism, global flair. Their leaders decided to make their desert a destination, and the world bought in. Iran's different. When I pitch coastal cities, people shrug. Why live by the sea when we love the mountains? It's not just about money or land, it's about what we value. I've started to wonder if my dream needs a cultural shift too. Could we learn to love the coast, to see it as more than a place for ships? That's the question I wrestle with every time I sketch a new plan. Things are starting to change, and it gives me hope. Iran's government sees the potential in tourism. Last year, it brought in $8 billion, and they want more. They're talking about new hotels, better roads, maybe even a coastal boom. Chabahar is the test case. I'm working on a proposal there: a modest boardwalk, a few hotels, a cultural center to draw visitors. It's small, but it's a start. Chabahar has what it takes: a deep port, access to trade routes, a milder climate than the Gulf. I dream of it becoming Iran's Doha, a city that blends our traditions with modern life. But the challenges are real. Dubai spent billions. We're working with millions. Without global partners, we're reinventing the wheel. Bureaucracy slows us down, and funding is always tight. Still, I believe in Chabahar. Every time I visit, I see a spark: people like Leila dreaming of a brighter future. If we can get this right, it could change everything. The question is, can we overcome the obstacles that have held us back for centuries? Iran's coastline is a paradox, bursting with potential, but held back by geography, history, and choices. I've spent years chasing my dream of coastal cities, and I've learned something universal. Dreams are powerful, but they need action to become reality. Dubai and Doha didn't just wish for greatness. They built it step by step, defying deserts and doubters. Iran's shores might stay quiet for now, but I'm not giving up. One day I want to stand in Chabahar and see a city that proves anything is possible. Here's my takeaway for you. Whatever you're chasing, a career, a project, a vision, know the obstacles, but don't let them define you. Study them, plan around them, and keep pushing. What's your dream? What's stopping you? And what's the first step you'll take to make it real? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we can inspire each other to build something extraordinary.